In today's Warzone video, we're taking a look at the top 5 ARs you guys need to be using. These are going to be some of the most popular ARs in Warzone as of right now. So if you guys seem to enjoy today's video, make sure you give it a like, subscribe, notifications turned on. Of course, let's hop into this. All right, so let's hop in this here. One of my personal favorites here to start this list off for the ARs, and that's going to be the Grau 5.56. I know a lot of people have it unlocked. Some people are still trying to get it unlocked, but when you actually do have it, it is an incredible AR. So of course, let's get into a setup for it. So first thing, we're going to go through on the mono suppressor here, sound suppression, damage range, barrel section. This is pretty much not going to be up for debate, much like the muzzle category. We're going to throw on the Tempest 26.4 Archangel barrel. This is going to give us the damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. And the reason this is not up for debate, even though the Nexus barrel pretty much does the exact same thing, this is going to do everything better than the Nexus barrel in every single category. And it's also got some beautiful iron sights, which we can take advantage of in our build. And this is an absolutely incredible barrel, so I do not recommend for you guys to try anything else on the Grau. Under barrel section, we go through on the commando foregrip here. Just gotta stabilize this gun out a little bit. It's pretty much gonna be a laser beam, super like low recoil, if like any at all. It's kind of ridiculous. Magazine, we're gonna go through on the 60 mag here. I'm a 60 mag kind of guy, so of course I go for the 60. I believe it's better to have a little bit of extra ammo in your magazine for your AR, considering you're gonna be putting a lot more rounds down range as opposed to the 30 or 40. Like, you sometimes need to wipe out 2, 3, 4 people at a time with one mag, and having 60 as opposed to 50 can be the difference between, of course, life and having a respawn or death or whatever the case is. But that's gonna be that. Now for our next attachment, we're gonna go for a laser. We're gonna go through on the TAC laser here for ADS speed, aiming stability, and aim walking steadiness. I pretty much love it on the TAC laser on this thing, like I said, to utilize the iron sights. But if you guys don't want to do that, you guys could throw on something like an optic and probably go for like a VLK 3 times. I normally would suggest other people to be able to use maybe a Corp Combat hollow sight, but to be honest, that's a complete waste of an attachment, just because like the gun has such great iron sights that you're not going to get anything out of using the Corp Combat hollow sight. You should probably just get a bigger benefit out of using like a TAC laser, and it's going to be perfectly fine. So TAC laser or a VLK, it's up to you guys, but this is my full build here for the Grau. Check it out. Hope you guys enjoy it. It's a really good AR. Our next up here, one of my other personal favorites to use in Warzone, the XM4. This thing's an absolute unit. I just love the XM4. I got the Annihilation variant here with diamond camo. It's a pretty cool combination, but let's hop into a build here for this thing. Muscle category, I'm gonna throw on the agency suppressor here, sound suppression, vertical recoil control, bullet velocity, and effective damage range. Of course, this is the best option for this gun. Don't ever go for the regular suppressor. It's not worth it. You definitely need the agency for pretty much all of your Cold War ARs. Barrel section to go throw on the 13.5 task force here. This is once again going to be the most effective attachment in this category. A horizontal recoil control, bullet velocity, vertical recoil control, and of course effective damage range. All good things we need in our AR to make sure it's as effective as it possibly can be at being an AR. Under barrel section, field agent grip. Got to stabilize out this gun even more so, considering they've tried to nerf it a couple of times in the recoil department because it was so incredibly OP. So the field agent grip here is pretty much a necessary thing. Magazine, we're gonna go through on the Stenak 60 round mag here. Of course, you guys know the saying, but 60, it definitely is better over the 45 in my opinion. I've ran the 45 plenty of times before, but I do feel like I get into situations where 60 can be a little bit more beneficial, and I don't need as much mobility considering it's an AR, not an SMG. When I want mobility, I'll whip out the SMG, run around with that, but I don't necessarily need mobility with this thing. Optic section, we're gonna go throw on the Axle Arms 3 times to round out this build, as that's pretty much the only thing I'd ever suggest to run on this gun as like an actual AR setup. It doesn't really have the iron sights for that, like the Grau. It doesn't have like a good hollow sight. Cold War guns really don't have any good sights for the ARs besides the Axle Arms 3 times. It's a little bit crappy like that, but so we just have this to run. So that's my full build here for the XM4. Absolutely love this gun. Super good AR. I run this all the time, and it's a lot of fun. All right, now we're gonna take a look here at the Modern Warfare M4A1. This is a gun that gets used here quite a bit in Warzone. This thing is a really solid AR after a couple different buffs and updates. This thing is a tank, so let's go through and throw on some attachments. Muzzle, mono suppressor here, of course. A barrel section, we're gonna go through on the stock M16 Grenadier barrel, damage range, bullet velocity, and of course recoil control. All really good things here to have on your M4A1. Some people can switch it out for the Corvus Custom Marksman, as this is pretty much going to do the same thing, of course, as the stock M16 barrel, but it's just going to, of course, do a little bit less of it. And you can probably use this for more of like a mobility style build, but even then, I try to go for the stock M16 just to make sure I'm, really effective at those longer ranges, even if I'm trying to, not use it like a super like long range optic. On a barrel section though, we're gonna go for the commando foregrip here. Just gotta stabilize this gun out. Of course, this does not need anything crazy. I mean, I've seen people try to go for the Ranger foregrip here if you feel like you really need something, but otherwise you're going to slow yourself down way too much. You have a lot more of an ADS speed penalty with the Ranger foregrip as opposed to, well, the Commando foregrip has no ADS penalty. That's one of the big downsides to that foregrip. So only use it if you feel like it's really necessary. Otherwise, just go for the Commando. Magazine, got to go for a 60 here, of course. Pretty much always stay away from these bottom two. These things are a whole bunch of shenanigans. Don't ever go for them. They're not useful in any capacity. Minus if you're trying to have like an, you know, an M4A1 mini SMG and you kind of, you know, kit the gun out like that. Otherwise, definitely not really a good thing. Not a meta sort of thing to go to. Not a meta way to build this gun. But 60 round mag here is my choice. Of course, you can go for 50 if you really feel like it, but 60 is my choice. Now we run into this thing where we can have a couple options. So we can go for a laser, pretty much like we did for the Grau, and go through an attack laser and utilize these pretty nice iron sights. I actually really like doing this, especially if I'm playing Rebirth Island. This is a really fun way to run the M4, and it makes it feel a little more competitive at those closer-ish to medium ranges. Not necessarily like close range, but you know, just outside of that, it makes you feel a little bit more competitive than if I was to run like a sight on it. But you guys could, like I said, also could maybe throw in like a Corp Combat Hollow. That'll go really good on this gun. This is personally one of my favorite ways to run this. And then of course the VLK 3 times. This is another really solid way to run it. Just on like the T-pose reticle. So you have a few different options in here, but go for either attack laser or Corp Combat, especially if you're playing Rebirth Island, something like that. This is a really good way to run this gun. So hope you all enjoy this one. Definitely try it out. Love the M4A1. All right, next up is going to be the Modern Warfare M13. Every time I make a video and I throw like a top 5 up there talking about ARs and I don't include the M13, people always ask me without fail, Chuck, is it still meta? And yes, it is indeed meta. So let's give you the most meta build for it. A muzzle mono suppressor here. Just got to throw this on here. The standard thing for all our Modern Warfare ARs. Barrel section, we have to go for the Tempest Marksman barrel. Damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control. This is how you make this gun real effective at being an AR. I've had people try to argue with me, maybe throw on like the integrated one here for the Tempest Cyclone, but no. You have to go for the Tempest Marksman. This is like how we run this thing. I mean, I wouldn't give you guys like a bad build considering like this is what I use personally, and I'm trying to use, you know, the best build possible for when I play Warzone. I want to be out there dropping my, you know, 30+ kill gameplays and solos, and this is what allows me to do it. Underbarrel section, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through on the Commando foregrip here. Recoil stabilization, aiming stability, pretty standard. You guys could probably throw in like a Ranger foregrip if you feel like the recoil is a little bit too much. Between this and the M4A1, people like to kind of talk about it a little bit, but otherwise the Commando foregrip's the way to go. Magazine, we're gonna go through on the 60 round mag here. Pretty standard. I don't really like to mess with this thing too much. The 60 round works out beautifully, and with this having a super high fire rate, this is a really good way to run this gun. Now in the optic section to finish this thing off, much like the M4A1, Corp Combat Hollow Sights, a great option for those medium-ish ranges. I love running this gun like that. I've done it plenty of times, had great success with it. I've also had great success running the VLK 3 times here if I'm trying to have a little bit more range, but I just think the VLK with that T-pose reticle is fantastic. And even down here, if you want to get a little creative with it, have a little bit of fun, the PBX Hollow 7 is pretty much the same thing as the Corp Combat Hollow, but just looks a little bit different. So it's up to you guys what you want to be able to run on this thing optic-wise, but we're not going to go for a laser or anything like that. We have to go for an optic to utilize this gun to its full potential. So this is my full build here for the M13. People always ask me, is it meta? And yes, it is still meta. Last but definitely not least, one of my personal favorite Vanguard assault rifles to run here that does get used here pretty frequently in Warzone. That is going to be the STG-44. So we haven't actually showcased any Vanguard ARs yet, but we're definitely going to have to round out the video here with one. So let's hop into a build for the STG. Muzzle, we're going to go throw on the MX silencer here. Sound suppression, horizontal and vertical recoil control, damage range, all good stuff here. We don't really want to go for the Mercury. This just has so many more, you know, benefits to it that I actually like. Barrel section, we're going to go for the VDD 760mm 05B barrel. Makes it the most effective it can be at those longer ranges, so always go for this. Underbarrel section, this is where it gets a little bit more personal preference here, but between the Carver foregrip and the M1941 hand stop, you realistically can't go too wrong. This is going to help you, I think, a tad bit more with that vertical recoil control, but otherwise the M1941 kind of helps out with just like an all-around little bit of everything. And I've really kind of grown a little bit more of accustomed to liking the M1941 over the Carver here recently, but pretty much both are still really solid. Magazine, we're going to go for the 7.62 Granco 50 round mag, pretty standard. We always go for this on our STG. Ammunition, we're gonna go throw on lengthen for that increase in bullet velocity. Just gotta make sure our shots hit at those longer ranges faster. And rear grip section, we're gonna go throw on the hatch grip here for recoil control and flinch resistance. I was actually running the polymer grip here, but a lot of people are saying that because it gives you the accuracy and recoil during sustained fire, when you actually have two attachments that say accuracy and recoil during sustained fire, it almost like cancels out. So we switched over to running the hatch grip. And that's kind of like pretty much the way to go. I also had people try to tell me to use, well, I think it's the pine tar grip somewhere in here for recoil control and hip fire accuracy, but otherwise I just go for the hatched, and it's worked out beautifully for me. And for those of you guys that have seen my STG gameplays, this is a really good setup. Optic section, what we're gonna do is you have a couple options in here. The G16 2.5x is your great medium range optic. Otherwise, you guys could go down here and throw on what's going to be a little bit farther down, the SVT scope, the 3 to 6 times magnification. I pretty much don't really ever use the 6 times, but it does come in handy every now and again, especially, you know, maybe I'm top prison, I mount up, try to pick somebody off the top of the water tower, rat tower, you know what I'm saying? You know, I got to be able to take some people out of there. But otherwise, the SVT scope is my go-to, and then if I don't use that, I go for the G16 2.5x. Stock, we're gonna go down here for the Constance Tactical. I love having a little bit of aim locking movement speed with my AR. I find this to be incredible on this gun. This is like my new favorite stock, 110%. Perk 1, we're gonna go actually throw on Sleight of Hand, just increase that reload quickness. Pretty handy on this gun, not gonna lie. And then in Perk 2, we're gonna go throw on, of course, Fully Loaded. So just got to max out that starting ammo capacity. Nothing wrong with that. And there's just not really anything else in here that would classify as like a better, more viable perk. So this is my full build here for the STG. This has been my top 5. Y'all enjoyed today's video. Give it a like, subscribe, notifications turned on. I'll see you all later. Just right now, Triple Cap. Don't be Randy, and I'm out. Peace.